Welcome to International Definition. My name is Kenneth Freeland, and I'm going to be your host for today's edition of International Definition. Today on International Definition, we're going to feature the Engineering Career Symposium here on the Tacoma Park / Silver Spring campus of Montgomery College. We have a very special guest today. Our guest today is Thelia Sesker, and she's going to tell us about engineering career opportunities with the Maryland State Highway Administration. So the first thing I would like to ask you is, what should the general public know about the Maryland State Highway Administration?
The Maryland State Highway Administration has various different engineering departments in which we apply different jobs to. Currently, we have a Transportation Engineer 1 position in which you have to be 6 months away from graduation to apply for these positions. You also can apply for different departments. Those departments are the Office of Structures, we have the Office of Construction, we have the Office of Highway Development, we have, and under that facet, we have Highway Design, we have Highway Hydraulics, Plats and Surveys, Community Design Division. We also have Innovative Contracting Division. We have Design Technical Service Division. We have Asset Management Division. And then we also have the Office of Material Technology. We have Asphalt Technology, Concrete Technology. With the State Highway Administration, we have various different jobs related to engineering. An employee can choose diverse tracks with career and different engineering facets that we provide. I'll give you just a couple of the different engineering departments that we do have and which you can apply for. We have the Office of Structures, the Office of Construction, the Office of Highway Development. We have the Office of Material Technology. We also have the Office of Planning and Preliminary Engineering. We have the Office of Traffic and Safety, which also has a division within for travel forecasting, and Traffic Operations Division. All of these departments you can actually apply for with the TE1, which is a Transportation Engineer 1 position. It actually gives you a step up above the rest. You have to have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and once you come in, you're on the fast track to becoming, as far as a CFMO, project manager, anything that your mind can discover as far as engineering goes.
What is a CSMO?
A CFMO is a Chief Facility Maintenance Operator. So they basically run everything when it comes to engineering.
So what do you do as a recruitment analyst?
As a recruitment analyst, I am the person that reads all of the applications that come in regards to the transportation engineers, some of our technical departments, some of our skilled trade departments, our administrative and professional, our paraprofessional, our clerical, anything you can imagine. We review the applications. We approve and deny those that have applied, and we send out those handy-dandy letters to let people know that they've received a new position.
Very good. So would you say that the State Highway Administration is a good place for engineers to pursue their careers?
Yes, I do believe that it's a great place to. Our SHA is actually such a large entity that you can stay there for years and you have tons of room of growth because we have so many divisions and departments that you can actually switch throughout without actually being stuck in one facet of engineering. So if you want traffic engineering and 4 years later you go and you pursue your master's in transportation engineering, you can always switch over without losing your benefits, your leave, and you're all still in one building with the same people that you started with.
So will you say that there is a variety of different projects taking place throughout the state at any given time?
Yes, there's various. We have like watershed projects, we have GIS, global positioning. We also do any type of construction work to the highways, bridges, buildings, any roadways throughout the state of Maryland. The only place we don't actually do work is in the city of Baltimore. Baltimore County and the surrounding counties, we definitely, Eastern Shore, We're very conscious of the water and how we actually set up the roadways and bridges to make sure that we're environmentally conscious.
I remember I went to a bridge oriented unit years ago in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the impression that they seem to be administered differently from the rest of the state.
They are, because their main focus is to do the major bridges. They're not more on the lower scale bridges. They're doing more of the constructing and the building, and to making sure that the whole entire project itself is done correctly. So you have the people that actually build the bridges. You have those that are environmentally friendly when it comes to, we don't want to pollute any of the watersheds that are around these bridges. We want to make sure that we're not impeding on these watersheds. We want to also make sure that the animals that live in that area, we're not taking away from them, but we're also building with them. So there's different facets within each of those departments. Seem similar, but they're not. And
then I remember the Virginia State Highway Administration also had sort of an interface where they work with the Maryland State Highway Administration on some projects. For example, you remember the Woodrow Wilson Bridge.
Correct.
The Woodrow Wilson Bridge was a huge project. In fact, for a long time, it was the largest public sector infrastructure project in this part of the country.
Yes, we had big dealings with that.
Right. So what about Metro? Do you get involved with the...
We don't get involved with Metro, not unless there's something that we have to deal with as far as a bridge. If we're crossing a bridge, or if that train has to use our facilities or our roadways or bridges, then we will definitely get involved in that.
But sometimes they do. For example, Metro crosses the Potomac River.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember, that might be Virginia.
I believe that is Virginia.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your book there?
Sure. What I brought today was the Transportation Engineer 1 application package. This package...
Can you show the cover?
Sure. This package actually is one of our main focuses on how we bring in the new engineers. This book, we actually start recruiting every year. Every year we start recruiting September 1. We stop recruiting July 30th of the following year. So this recruitment opened on September 1st, 2013. It will not close until July 30th, 2014. This position here, the starting salary is $50,000. You also get a sign-on bonus for applying for this position and actually getting it. You have a fast track to become from a Transportation Engineer 1 to a Transportation Engineer 2 to a Transportation Engineer 3, and so on. You get leave benefits, you get health plan benefits. You're full-time, you're not part-time, and it's not an internship. This is a full-time position. You get retirement plans. We have classes that help you review or go after your PE or EIT licensing if you do not already have it. Any of the fees that you incur with the PE license or the EIT license, and if you are unaware of what the PE license is, it's the Professional Engineer's License, and the EIT license is the Engineering and Training License. If you need to take those classes and you have to pay out of pocket, we will definitely reimburse you for those classes. We also provide tuition reimbursement as long as it's job related. And some of the additional benefits are if you take the MARC train because you live outside of the city of Baltimore, we won't pay for that. But once you get into the city of Baltimore, all of the metro services, the subway services, and all of the above rail services are free to come to and from work as long as you have access to those. Many of these jobs here, we have rotational shifts in which you can work. You can get hired, say, under the Office of Structures, but you can also rotate on 6-month rotationals with different departments so that you're aware of what these departments are doing. And if you want to make that strategy to go over to the next department, you have that option.
Now, it looks like you have some more additional material in your book there.
Well, some of these are just some of the breakdowns of the different divisions. It's not very, it's not a lot of different information. This is actually the application package. in which you would apply for the position. It just lets you know what you need to fill out with this position. This is just the paper application in which we bring to job fairs or to the colleges so that they're aware of the position. We will prefer that you apply online because it's easier for us to receive your application. It's a faster method for us to receive your application. We're able to get back with you with your results in a timely fashion if you apply online. But if you don't, it's fine. You can always apply online. But these are just the various different things that you need to send to us so that you can meet these different criteria. And we're also, just so we're aware, we're not just in the city of Baltimore. We're on the Eastern Shore. We're on the lower portion of Maryland, as far as Charles County, St. Mary's County. We're in Calvert County. We are in Anne Arundel. We're in Garrett County, which is the upper part of Maryland. We're in Allegheny. Frederick, we're over on the 270 side with the Frederick and Howard County line. We're also, again, on the Eastern Shore as low as Salisbury and Queen Anne County. So you have a different facet of where you want to work depending on where you live. We're able to meet all of your needs.
So when you say you're in those locations, are you saying that you have offices there?
We have offices in each one of those counties, a general office in which you would come to do work. The majority of the work does come through the main office, which is Baltimore City. But oftentimes you're asked to go out to these different locations to perform work duties. And you may have to stay overnight or for a week. So it's a lot of travel involved, all provided by the state. We don't ask you to pay for any of that.
So what I'm remembering as I think back years ago, I met people who had actually majored in sometimes mechanical engineering, sometimes electrical engineering, sometimes chemical engineering. What if engineers who did not major in civil engineering want to become transportation engineers? Can they do it?
They can do that here. You would just have to give us a call and we can actually give you the information. Our local number is 410-545-5552. And we can give you a rundown of all of the departments that accept additional degrees. But the overall degree path is civil engineering.
Can you repeat your telephone number again?
Sure, the number is 410-545-5552.
And do you have an email address?
Sure, you can email me directly at T as in Tom, S as in Sam, E, S as in Sam, K-E-R, at sha.state.md.us.
So can you think of any particular projects that stand out as highlights in your, I guess you're probably kind of a new employee. Right?
Yes, and we really don't, as in recruitment and exam, we don't get involved in the projects. Now I can tell you we did the ICC that recently opened a year or two ago. We recently did the Woodrow Wilson Bridge that completed a couple of years ago, but we don't really get into the facet of which projects are actually done on a regular basis. We do also have another position that a lot of people can apply for, which is the TET, which is the Transportation Engineering Technician position. That position is actually an engineering directive, but it's based off of all you need is a high school diploma. So you're learning from the bottom and you're coming up. So if you want to apply for that and you actually want to still, attend school, you're able to do that also. And then once you get into the TE1 position, it's an easier transition for you to move over from the TET1 over to the TE1 because you're already, familiar with some of the things that we do, and it's easier to move over.
Yeah, and what about surveying?
Surveying is part of our Plats and Surveys division. So those are the different divisions that we currently have, and with this booklet, if you want to apply for the TE1, you get to pick which departments you want to apply for. And I'll repeat those departments. It's the Office of Structures, and that deals with structure design, structure hydraulics, structure inspection and remedial engineering, quality assurance division. Then you have the Office of Construction, which is the Office of Construction and the Construction Inspection Division. And then you have the Office of Highway Development, which has highway design, innovative contracting, highway hydraulics, Plaques and Surveys, Community Design Division, Design Technical Service Division, Assets Management Division, and then you have the Office of Materials, which is New Product and Research Team, Material Management Division, Asphalt Technology, Concrete Technology, Soils and Aggregate Technology, Structural Materials and Coating Evaluation Division, Engineering Geology, Field Explorations, Pavement and Geotechnical Divisions. You also have the Office of Planning and Preliminary Engineering, Highway Information Services, Program Development, Environmental Planning, Project Management, Regional Intermodal Planning Division, Travel Forecasting and Analyst Division. And then you have the Office of Traffic, which is the Office of Traffic and Safety, Traffic Development and Support Division, Motor Carrier Division, District Traffic Engineering Offices. And with this District Traffic Engineering offices, these are you can actually work at different offices within the state of Maryland. So your office can possibly be throughout the state versus being in a localized area like Baltimore City. You have the Traffic Engineering Design Division, the Capital Programs Division, and the Traffic Operations Division. So those are all of the various different departments, and then you have the different divisions within the departments that you can actually move throughout.
How would you compare the salaries to the general spectrum of salaries for engineers? How would you say that the state highway administration salaries compare to the typical salary range for engineers?
I'm going to say they're about equal. For the average student leaving out of undergrad at 21 or 22, making around $50,000. A lot of people want to, they come in because of that one, and then they come in for the engineering reason secondly, because we're so competitive that if we definitely do want you on our team, we will try our best to meet your salary needs.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things that I could remember even when I was coming out of school. Mm-hmm. There's always been generally a lack of engineers. Mm-hmm. There just don't seem to be enough engineers.
We do see a lot of engineers. There's different divisions that we've seen a loss of engineers that are interested in that field now to this day. We have a lot of traffic engineers. We have a lot of highway design engineers. We have a lot of bridge structure, construction management, I'm trying to think, planning and preliminary, but not a lot of highway hydraulics. I guess the curriculum, they don't want to go through the different paths that they have to go through for highway hydraulics. As I've been told, the curriculum is a little bit harder than the other ones. So we don't have a lot of students that want to take that path.
Do you get involved with traffic lights?
They do. The traffic engineering portion that we have here, we do get involved with the traffic engineering.
And what about contractors?
We deal with contractors also. We have, oftentimes we deal with RK&K. I'm not sure if you're aware, that's a big engineering firm that often we do contract with, and oftentimes those contractors do come over to us for stability. Because as you know, with contractors, sometimes if the contract doesn't go through, you lose your employees. So you want to come over to a state facility that has that permanent space for you, and unless something happens with the state of Maryland where we lose our budget completely, that's when you have a problem whether you're going to lose your job or not. So it's stability with the state highway.
But then think about it. They just shut the federal government down.
We're not the federal government, though. We're state. So we haven't had any problems with layoffs in about 4 or 5 years. Okay. And even with the layoffs, we didn't give it to you in a big lump sum. We did it throughout a year's pay. So even though you lost some, you didn't feel a large hurt all at once.
So are there certain schools that you look to for your new recruits?
No, we welcome all schools. There's no schools that we pick at, but of course, some of the engineers that are currently working with us, they have their alumnus of different schools. So they definitely go back and try to recruit those students, but we welcome any and all students to come to apply from any schools. We don't pick and choose.
And how would you look at the turnover rate? What kind of turnover rate would you say you have
State highway with our engineers, we actually right now have a guy that's 85 years old. He's been working with us for over 55 years.
Okay.
So this is a position that people very rarely leave out, but we always create new positions for new engineers because there's not enough, as you said. We don't have enough engineers to fill every spot. So we try to bring them in abundance so that we can always have those engineers. As they move up, we move the new ones in, so we always have those different levels.
Well, what advice would you give to engineering students as they're preparing for their careers?
I'm going to say just look deeply into what your heart desires. Don't look into it as a money thing or what your parents are pushing. I think you should go into something that you will enjoy as a career and not just a job, because a job is something that you can get from day to day, but a career is something that you will enjoy coming to every day and putting your heart into it, regardless if that position, if you lose your pay, if you have a layoff, because you love that position so much, you'll constantly stay there and give your all no matter what.
And that would apply across the board. I mean, no
Yes.
matter what your field is, no matter what your specialty
Correct.
happens to be. Right? Have you had much interaction with the American Society of Civil Engineers?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. A lot of our students that do apply as a T1 engineers, the majority of them, we actually do give you credit for being a part of those programs. But we do see a lot of students that have been a part of them. But they, besides job fairs that they may have, we don't have any direct interaction, not unless the different departments, the engineering departments, they may have a direct interaction with them. But recruitment and exam, that's it.
Right. You know, it's interesting, in the District of Columbia, PEPCO actually has a contract to take care of the street lights. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine you probably have a big component for taking care of your lights, lighting on the roads.
We do, but we contract out.
Okay.
Just as well as the speed cameras. We don't actually, State Highway doesn't actually maintain the speed cameras on the highways. We maintain the units to make sure no one's damaging or the graffiti, if something's falling apart, if it's toppled over. We will make sure that we, erect it back up or we get the graffiti off, but we don't actually maintain any of the tolls or any of the speeding tickets on the state highway. We get phone calls, I think, daily asking about tickets,
Yeah.
and we don't actually do them at all.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. I never realized you don't get involved with that.
No, sir. That's actually a separate contracting throughout the different counties,
Okay.
and we don't handle.
Right. And then, is there a way that a person can look at a certain highway
Mm-hmm.
and tell whether it's a state highway or it might be a county highway, or sometimes within a big city there will actually be certain highways within that city?
Mm-hmm.
Who administers the various highways?
I still haven't grasped it. So for me to portray exactly what the differences are, I can't tell you because I don't know myself. A lot of our FMTs in which we have facility maintenance techs, which aren't engineering related. All you have to have is an 8th grade education for that position, but they maintain the highways and bridges and roadways that we have. They probably can tell you better than anything. That big yellow truck that sits on the side of the road with SHA on the side, if you ever have any issues, you're more than welcome to ask any of them, and they can definitely tell you.
I have found in general they seem to be decent, approachable people.
They are. We are big on customer service across the board, whether we're dealing internally or externally. That's our biggest thing, customer service, because that's how you get people coming back for more.
Well, we're getting close to the end of our show. Would you like to share any closing thoughts or comments?
The only thing I can say, all of you engineering students, please go to our website, which is www.roads.maryland.gov. And if you are 6 months away from graduating, please apply for the Transportation Engineer 1 position. This is a great position. We have different programs. We have different benefits that you can get from this program. Please, please, please apply to this. I can't say anything more but this, Transportation Engineer 1. This is the best thing going right now.
And I would imagine at most college and university campuses, the engineers are among the highest paid graduates.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And they're constantly looking for work.
Right.
So this is the perfect position to actually apply for.
Well, it's certainly been nice to have you on this show.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining.
No problem.
Our guest today has been Thelia Sesker, and she's a recruitment analyst from the Maryland State Highway Administration. I'm glad that you were able to join us for today's edition of International Definition. Once again, this was the Engineering Career Symposium on the Tacoma Park / Silver Spring campus of Montgomery College. And now, until our next broadcast, I'm your host, Kenneth Freeland, thanking you for joining us today.